Hello, everybody. Happy Labor Day weekend. We have been having gorgeous weather. That's my weather report. It has been more fall weather than summer, though. I'm kind of like nervous about the fall. I mean, if it's like this now in August, I feel like the last 2 weeks we kind of lost summer. So I don't know. Hopefully, it'll be a beautiful, warm fall and it's not going to be freezing in October. We'll see what happens. I hope everyone's having a great weekend. I know I am. I'm catching up with some old friends, and so I'm really happy. So today I decided to go back a little bit on some things that I wrote down that I wanted to cover because I've had so much going on. I've been filling you guys in on all the recent stuff, but I have a whole bunch of backlog stuff to talk to you about. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Helene Silverman, and I own a company called Helene's Notes, and I teach piano, flute, and violin lessons, and I do teach online all over the United States. So if you're interested, you can PM me or call me. Calling me or texting me is better than doing the direct message because I get so many direct messages now on Facebook. It's like crazy. So, but all my info will be posted on the top. And don't forget to check out my Helene's Notes Facebook page, and you'll be able to see videos and pictures. Oh, I have not put up the coffee house stuff yet. I have to do that. But I'm definitely gonna do that this week. There's just been so much going on. Anyway, so I'm here every Sunday night at 8 o'clock to talk about music. This time I did turn off the volume on my phone. So we're gonna talk about, I'm gonna tell you because I picked it out. I'm going to talk about the Billy Joel documentary that was on, I think it was on HBO Max. Yeah. So first of all, I thought it was absolutely fascinating because I feel like Billy Joel is one of the few performers that we really don't know much about. I mean, he's been around forever, yet there's like a lot of things watching this documentary that I had no idea about. First of all, I mean, I didn't even know that he had been married 3 times. So he's been married 3 times, and he got married a fourth time, or he's been the third marriage he's in now is 3, but I had no idea. I did know that he lost money several times, that he had been swindled, but I didn't know how it had happened. So this explains how all of that happens. If you like Billy Joel, you should definitely watch this documentary. It's amazing and fascinating. And I didn't know that he had such a hard time with the critics, and that's why he stopped. That's why he stopped performing and playing, was because he just felt like he was getting beat up by the critics. And the only reason that he came back and started at MSG was because they were so good to him. The critics loved him. He did, I think it was, I have it in the notes. I don't remember if it was Hurricane Sandy that he came back for that concert, or if it was 9/11. I'll tell you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of summarize it from like the beginning, and I'll try to go as quick as I can. And maybe I'll do some of it and then continue it next week because I did take a lot of notes. First of all, he passed on working with George Martin from the Beatles, which I thought was fascinating. Why would anybody pass on working with George Martin? But it's because they wouldn't, Billy Joel wanted to work with his own band, and George Martin did not want to work with his band. They wanted to bring in a totally separate band, and he didn't want to do that. So he took a big risk by not dealing with him, which I thought was really, really, amazing to do. What I realized is that he really stood up for what he wanted. His fireworks in the background. I don't know if you can hear them. But he also came from a strict classically trained family, which I also did not know. His father was a classical pianist, and they were in the Holocaust. Billy Joel's father and their parents. I didn't even know that Billy Joel was Jewish, But his father was a classical pianist in Germany, and was in the Holocaust. And his mother was also very famous. She did shows and stuff. So, which also, again, I did not realize. So his father, Billy Joel's father, was very, very hard on him with playing the piano. Billy Joel really liked to play by ear. He really didn't like reading so much. He liked to play the way that he wanted to play. His dad was strictly classical and only wanted him to play the way the music was written. So it was a big problem between the two of them, which I often have in teaching all the time, because I have like a lot of students who really want to do things their way, but you have to have a foundation of the basic knowledge of how to play an instrument before you can just start improvising. I mean, that's the way that I feel about it. You're going to get much more out of it. Now, there are plenty of famous musicians that, do very well with improvising, but then you have to start laying out money for people to transcribe what you've written, because you can't write it yourself, which Billy Joel did, by the way, later on in his career, when he he did a classical album, and he did a whole book that you can buy. It's actually hard to get. I was looking on how to get it. But guess what? He couldn't write it out because he didn't know how to write the music. So he had to pay this guy to play his stuff and write out the music for him because he didn't know how to do that. So that's not good. I mean, you want to be able to write your own stuff. Every time you got to spend money for someone else to do something, that's less money that you get to keep. So let's see. Oh, yeah. So his mother did Gilbert and Sullivan plays. Paul McCartney said that he wished he had written Just the Way You Are, which I also thought was fascinating. And so many other musicians really, really respect Billy Joel and how he, how he writes, how he performs, all the music that he's done. I talked about his dad. Oh, and then what happened was Billy Joel started taking piano lessons with someone else because he didn't get along with his father. Billy Joel's piano teacher, I don't know how old he is now. I mean, look, think about it. I don't even know if his piano teacher's still alive. But I met him once because his piano teacher was in Massapequa. And I went to a piano teaching guild meeting, and his piano teacher was there. But I don't know if he's still around. I mean, Billy Joel's like 73, so, you know, it's one thing. We should Google it and find out if Billy Joel's piano teacher is still alive. Listen, if anybody, when you watch this and you Google it, let me know. Put in the comments if you did that. I'm curious to see if his piano teacher is still alive. And we talked about the critics and why he stopped writing music and why he stopped performing because of that. But he did. So Billy Joel made a very bad deal when he first started, and the guy had an ironclad contract with him where he got a percentage of all of his music. And it was very hard to get him out of that deal, but eventually he was able to get out of it. But then his new manager embezzled all the money from him, and he had to make all the money back. And it took him a really long time to do it. And you'll see all of that. And actually, the reason that he found out about this was because when he was married to Christie Brinkley and they started traveling, people were saying, oh, you bought up this and you bought up that, like land and everything. And he never did that. It was his manager who bought up all this stuff. So thank God for Christie Brinkley, because he didn't even want to believe it. And thank goodness that, she was savvy enough to figure it out. So what happened was when he had to make all that money back, he had to start touring again for River of Dreams, that album. And that's why him and Christie Brinkley got divorced, was because he was traveling all the time. He was drinking all the time. And, she never saw him. And so in the beginning, Christie Brinkley and their daughter, Alexa, was able to travel with him because she wasn't in school yet. But by the time he had to do this tour to make back the money, he was touring and then he wasn't home anymore. And it was really sad. and really difficult. So I feel bad for like all of them. I mean, what a terrible situation. I'm only going to talk for like another 5 minutes because this is longer than I usually do, but it is very interesting. He loved touring with Elton John, but if anybody remembers that, they had a falling out because Elton John didn't feel that Billy Joel took like when he went to rehab for his drinking, he felt that the rehab wasn't good enough, and that's why they stopped touring together, and Billy Joel was really really hurt by that. And I also felt bad for that. I mean, there's nothing worse than when you think you're friends with someone and they kind of turn on you. And I know that Elton John has helped other people stop doing drugs and drinking. I don't know why maybe he did try to help Billy Joel and it didn't work out, but he didn't say that. Then we found out, listen, I didn't know this either. Billy Joel has a half brother. Because Billy Joel's father abandoned him when he was a child. I think he was 8 or 9 or something. And he didn't see him for years. He had to really figure out where he was. And that song, Vienna, that was written about his father. His father was in Vienna. And that's how he found him. So let's see what else. We talked about that. Um, and yeah, so we're almost done. So Billy Joel now. So this is really, really a condensed version. I mean, each part it was two parts to this, and they were 2 hours each. So I'm not going over the whole thing. You really need to watch it. Um, so at the Hurricane Sandy concert, that's where he got hurt again. He got hurt, not hurt, but and then everybody loved him and the critics and everything, and that's when he decided to go back and start performing at MSG and Madison Square Garden. And now he's writing music again. So that's really like the whole condensed version of the Billy Joel documentary. I suggest if you love Billy Joel, you should watch it. It's really fascinating to see, how he met his first wife, which was married to one of the people he was in the first band with, and why she left. And it was, yeah, I just thought it was really, really amazing. So that's it for tonight. Next week, we'll talk about the Live Aid stuff. The reason I didn't want to jump into that is because for some reason I started with Live Aid and then put Billy Joel in the middle and then ended with Live Aid again in my notes, and I got to get rid of the Billy Joel stuff so I can put the Live Aid stuff together. If anyone has any comments, I know we're back to school next week. If anyone's interested in lessons, please contact me as soon as possible. My fall schedule is pretty much done, but I do have some space in there for people, adults and kids. Give me a call, and I hope everyone has a great week, and I'll see you all next week. Bye.